So I think one of the first things people ask when they hear I'm from Charlottesville is like, yo, did you always know you wanted to come here? I think the thing is UVA is a very different experience than Charlottesville itself. I mean, obviously there's a couple of perks with you're familiar with the area, but overall I think UVA is a very different environment and very enriching environment that's very separate from my experience as a Charlottesville resident. So.
Okay. Were there any like pitfalls that you like other people that might be going through that you like warned them about, or like any surprises or biggest changes?
I think the biggest thing is just understanding sort of the Charlottesville area and really, I think you come in with a richer history and knowledge of the community. I think that really helps you educate others and not just, okay, about Mr. Jefferson, but really what this area means and sort of his issues that have arisen in the past. So, yeah.
Okay. What was like the biggest like challenge for coming to UVA? Sorry.
Yeah, so I think obviously just finding building new relationships. I think just adjusting sort of to college lifestyle. Of you have so much time and you want to meet all these new people and you have so much fun, but also you have so much more work than you did in high school. So really finding that time management balance. So yeah.
Okay. Did you find yourself like changing, like considering like how you were in high school versus like college, and like when you went back and like hang out with those friends, it was like kind of different, or?
Yeah, I think you definitely, it's always interesting. I was talking to friends about this of like, you don't necessarily know who you're going to be close to after high school. And sometimes the high school friends you keep in touch with are the ones you weren't as close to. Whereas the ones you were closer to, sometimes you're not as close after college. Just because I think, it's very different experiences at each university. So, yeah.
Okay. What was the big surprise about like coming to UVA?
I just think, obviously, I think the vast number of people that are really so highly intellectual and skilled and qualified. So I think, a lot of these people who come here are used to being the top in their class or the top 10. And it's like, well, at a UVA, everyone's been the top 10 in their class overall. And so how do you adjust for those new challenges with academic world? So, yeah.
Okay, and I know like you're VP of like the student organizations here. Like, have what have you noticed about the environment here of like the students that you've talked to across like all these wide different organizations? Is there anything that like you've noticed like that UVA kids like have in common, or like
Yeah.
they don't do?
Well, I think obviously the one part is student self-governance is so strong here that students really want to be leaders and really want to take this organization on their own and really build it and grow it. But I think also the idea of really Jefferson's learning and continual learning. So students are always wanting to educate others, whether that's okay, this is an academic interest, or maybe this is my club and this is an instrument we do and we want to teach others. So really just the vast array of people wanting to really share their talents and share their interests with others. So yeah.
Gotcha. And like you mentioned self-governance, like what are your thoughts on like the honor code at UVA, and like does it work? Like do you still see like cheating around that people don't report, or like what's your view on that?
Yeah, I think it's it's again a serious benefit to UVA that we have such a strong honor system. I think it's something you see, as I was applying for job interviews, so many employers are like, oh, I know about the UVA honor system. So I think there's a strong trust that's built through it and still lasts today. So I think, while there may be parts that could be reformed and improved, I don't think it's corroding in any sense. I think it's still just as strong as it used to be. So.
Okay. What would be the advice that you'd want to give someone who's like thinking about college, or someone who's like coming into UVA? Like, what would you have wanted to know or have learned that you want to pass along?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things about UVA is some people may look at the numbers and look at the size and say, well, UVA is too big for me. But really, I think the important thing to understand is UVA really, it's such a close-knit community that you really find your group. And it really, once you get in here, it feels much smaller than it is. And so I think that's where it's really, the size shouldn't be a deterrent if that's a concern. So yeah.
Okay. What made you like pick UVA out of the other colleges I guess you applied to?
Yeah, so I think part of it obviously is a strong public policy and government program. So Jefferson, being a statesman, had this background and interest in politics that drew me. But I think also, again, like I touched on, student self-governance, that really empowering students, that it's not just here we're going to plan this event, but really having okay, we're going to be the ones allocating the funding to student groups, or we're going to be the ones at the trials for the honor determining the outcome. Just immense power that students have here. Yeah.
Okay. Were you really pressured like to go into like a major or like area of study, or like, and if you decide like that wasn't for you, were able to switch around, or was it kind of like you just had to do something like because you thought that's what you needed to do?
Yeah, so I think early on you may be anxious or have some anxiety because you hear your peers coming in, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm pre-com, I'm pre-med. But I think the thing is, a lot of people typically change majors 2 or 3 times. So I think again, it's really, first of all, just exploring these subjects. There's a lot of subjects here that you probably did not get at your high school. So exploring a vast array and then really finding what you're most passionate about. And even if you take a class that's not relevant to your final major, it's still an enriching experience. So yeah.
Okay. 2 final questions, I guess. I know like UVA is really Greek. How do you like? Have you handled like having friends who are Greek or non-Greek? Like, do you find yourself leaning towards one, or like not really able to mesh among the two at all?
I mean, I think, I guess the Greek system, I see it again as just another outlet and involvement for students. So I don't think it really dominates UVA like the perception is out there. It's really, yes, the Greek system is a social outlet if students want it, and also there's many enriching experiences with brotherhood and sisterhood. But overall, I think, there's many students who find find that brotherhood in a student organization, or find it in other means that really there's no pressure to really be in part of the Greek system as a member. So yeah.
Do you think that's really helped by the fact that you can't really rush here until like the spring semester so you can form friendships, or that hasn't really done that compared to other schools?
Yeah, I think that's a positive in terms of it allows people to really explore who they are, and really, again, who you were in high school isn't necessarily who you want to be in college. So I think really exploring that, and then also just really exploring your friendships, and then really being able to talk to members of a fraternity or sorority to really get a good sense of what this fraternity is about, or what the sorority is about, and really getting a chance to meet people rather than if you were to come in and maybe just all you heard was what the internet reports or what the rumors are. So yeah.
What's been like if you don't mind, what's been the biggest change in like that you've noticed in like yourself, like coming from high school to coming to like college?
Yeah, so I think just really the confidence in there, so being willing to really, I think, show my strength in terms of my skills. So I think being really, again, obviously in high school, we're all typically some of the smartest kids in the room, but really at UVA, really showing that and using it not just for in the classroom, but outside the classroom, and really sharing your knowledge and your expertise with others. Because I think UVA's got such diversity of, not just in terms of racial diversity, but backgrounds and experiences, that really you bring that, and you really should be adding that to the UVA experience. So.
Okay. Awesome. Last thing. Are you going to Foxfields?
Yes, I look forward to it. So.
So what's like the draw to you for like Foxfields?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's just a great chance to really see everyone in the UVA community together, and obviously, you see not just only current students, but a lot of alumni come in, and a lot of organizations have their own tables, and it's just a chance to really have that one last hurrah with all your classmates and enjoy your time. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Neil.
Thank you for having me.